Peace, brothers and sisters. This is Dr. Siddiqui Chebaye, and I would like to continue our journey on understanding the difference between the Bible diet or the diet of the Bible and our diets of today. And you'll see a vast difference as we go along. Please stick with me. Be patient with yourself and the process. You have to be. So we're going on in this journey so that we can build this foundation so that you can see where we ended up with no foundation. So with that in mind, let's continue on where we left off the last time in the first Genesis, the 26th chapter. But before we do, let's make sure that we understand that we're talking only spiritual. Man hasn't been created yet, the physical man. So everything is spiritual right now. So let's keep it in perspective. That if everything is from God, everything is God, including man. So we're going to see later on where God has created man in his image. So let's start off by saying, go to the 26th chapter where we ended up in the first chapter of Genesis. Genesis means in the beginning. It says, and God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth. Everything that was created, that creepeth upon the earth. So God made man, which is mind. The physical man hasn't been created yet. So let's stay on the spiritual level right now, because everything was spiritual originally. But then we're going to see how we had all the falls and now we became physical. So it says, let us make man. Well, who's us? Us is everything that God made was him. So he brought all of that together to create the mind of man. But that's spiritual first. So all the energy came together that God created, which was him. So he brought all the energies together to make a mind. We're still spiritual now. To make a mind that have dominion over everything that he created, that we created, that us created. As it says in the scripture, let us, the minds, all the energy come together and let us make man. Let us make a mind. Let us make sense out of everything and give them dominion over everything that was created. Now let's go also to the 27th. I know everybody say God don't have no partners. God don't have this. But guess what? Everything is God. Remember that. So God created, 27th of the first chapter. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. Male and female created he them. Whoa. Wow. So it says that God created man in his image. He made mind in his image. So everything was God. Everything is God, and everything was God, and it will continue to be God. So it says that God say, let us make man in his image. The image of God created he him. So he created himself. And male and female created he them. That's the male and female principle of God. When you have the male and the female principle come together as one, that is God. Why? Because you can create. Create what? Create yourself. That's how powerful God is, and the God presence that's within us. But don't forget, we're still on the spiritual level right now. We're going to see how man, the physical man, was manifested through God. Now, and it says the 28th, it says, and God blessed them. And God said unto them, be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowl of the air, and of every living thing that moveth upon the earth. So mine was in control. Everything was mine. You can't really see God, but you can see evidence of God. But when you bring everything together, which has its own intelligence and is vibrating at its own frequency, that is God. That's why everything is relative. Everything is connected. Everything cooperates. So that is God. So man means mind. And woman is the female or the emotional part of the mind, which our Father gave us dominion over everything that was created. Now the 29th says, and God said, behold, now this is very, very, very important. And God said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed. Bearing means what? Something that can continue on. Bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, not a part of it, of all the earth. And every tree in which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be what? It shall be meat. Did you hear that, brothers and sisters? That meat is not an animal originally. Meat was the herbs and the fruit from the tree. All the things that had seeds that can be replanted, because we are the original agriculturists. We're the real farmers, in other words. So, wow. Originally, we were breatharians. We weren't even eating because we were spiritual. Then God said, everything I created, all the herbs of the earth, all the trees that bear seeds, everything should bear seeds so it can continue. That's why man is the seed carrier. He can continue himself through the woman. That's your future. Now it says, and to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to everything that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is life. Life. I have given every green herb for meat. Not the animal. Anything that dies, you bury it in the ground, not in the pit of your stomach. How can death promote life? That's a contradiction. But that's what they did to us. They gave us a bunch of contradictory information that we don't even think about. We just go along. We got to stop that. Men don't go along. Women don't go along. They think, they process it, they put it together and make sense out of it. And God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And the evening and the morning were the sixth day. Now, you see how everything went now. God made man in his image and in his likeness. That means that everything was spiritual. His image and his likeness, that's spiritual. We haven't even gotten into the physical manifestation of man yet, like I said before. We're still on this spiritual journey. We're still laying the foundation to the structure, which is us. But we must start from the beginning, They have given us a bunch of nonsense information, made everything spooky. They made everything spooky. Now, let's go back to the original way of how the modern day religion came about, because in the beginning there wasn't no religion, it was just life. We were spiritual. Religion is man-made. And they made an agreement with the government. These so-called religious leaders made an agreement with the government and said that the government said, I'll give you non-profit status if you teach the congregation what I would like for you to teach them. And the so-called religious leaders agreed. So now it's all about the money and control. It's all about control, really, because if I can control you, the money's going to come with it. So it's all about control. If I'm a child of God, I don't need no one to control me or tell me what to do. I already know what to do. That's what the rites of passage was all about, even though we didn't get to man yet. We didn't get to the physical part yet. We're still on the spiritual. So let's stop flip-flopping spiritual and physical, because we are still spiritual right now, according to the first chapter. It's just laying the foundation that the herbs is what we should be eating, and the fruit from the trees are what we should be eating. And it said, let it be your meat. Now, this is another part that we need to pay attention to. It says that the animals should do the same thing. So the animals originally weren't eating each other. There was no need to eat each other when God created the food, the herbs, and the fruit from the trees. And don't forget, if you look at the animal kingdom, the vegetarians are the biggest and the long living, and live longer. They're stronger. They're more intelligent. We got to stop eating death and pretending that it's promoting life. Death is death. It's gone. It has no substance. And we're going to see how man even invented death, because don't forget, it's only life. Man's inventions sometimes is no good. So we're going to go to the second chapter. I'm going to give you a couple verses there to give you something to think about, on the next video. And it says, thus the heavens, the second chapter, thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. So that means that everything was set. And don't forget, the physical man wasn't on the scene yet. We're talking about mind. Man means mind. So whenever you see the word man or the title man, it means mind. A thinker. A creator. So it says here, the second verse of the second chapter, and on the seventh day, God ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he has made. Now let's look at the seventh day. You already know that Sunday is the first day. So Sunday can't be the first and the seventh at the same time. It's either one or the other. Since Sunday is the first day, then Saturday have to be the seventh day. So we have to peep the game that they played on us and still playing it, and we just going along with it. Now, our ancestors gravitated towards something to save their sanity with this craziness that they was going through. So they embraced certain things, but a lot of it they couldn't reveal to the children, or they would tell Master, and Master would kill them. So we had to keep certain things from our children, which was a shame. So a lot of people went to the grave, with all this information. But I just want to give you the insight of Our real meat is the herbs and the stuff that grows. It's all the grass, everything that grows, including the fruit on the trees. That's our meat. So Queen Mother Mamie and the rest, let the fruit from the tree be your meat. And let the herbs be the healing part of you. We don't need no whole lot of protein. That's for big boned people like white folks. These cave people clubbing themselves upside the head. They got to have them thick bones. They're not us. They got to have all this protein. We don't need all that protein. That's why we're thin boned. That's why we can jump and run so excellently. We're light, flexible. They're brute and all of this kind of, vicious, aggressive. That's our difference. That's the natures of a thing. And don't forget, the animals originally didn't eat each other. The herbs and the food from the tree was for everything that existed originally. Spiritual, but we had a fall. And I'm going to lead you up to what's going to be talked about on the next video, which will be, it says here, the fourth chapter, second chapter in the fourth verse. It says, these are the generations of the heavens and of the earth, which they were created. Generations, all of this stuff that was happening was generations. Happened in generations. In the day that the Lord God made the earth and the heavens. The earth and the heavens. Or the heavens and the earth. And don't forget, man is not here yet. Everything is still spiritual. But I want to throw out something that you can ponder over and think about until the next video. And that is Adam. Adam was supposed to have been the first man, physical man. Now, what does Adam mean? Because everything means something. Name means nature. So Adam is a Hebrew word or Hebrew noun. Noun, a Hebrew noun, which means which came from Adama. Adama, Adamah, I believe, Adama. So, an Adama, what does Adama means? In Hebrew, Adama means the ground or the earth or the soil. You see where I'm getting ready to go? So I want you to think about that until the next one, that we're going to get into the manifestation of the first physical man that came from our Creator. And don't forget that everything that God created was God. And that's why they say, when you look in the mirror, there it is. So with that in mind, let's get our beginning together. Let's get our foundation together and get back to nature. This body here, it vibes off of the energy from the earth and the trees, not the animals. Because the animals were doing the same thing, eating from the ground and the trees. That's why when a dog gets sick, it goes back in the woods and come back, he's cool. Already know what to do. No one told him. No one taught him. So our intelligence is greater, so we should know also. So with that in mind, brothers and sisters, let's stick with me, because we should never allow anybody to define us. Ever. Because we are the greatest. We are the original. Until the next time, brothers and sisters, keep your lights on and keep them bright at all times. This is Raw Food for Thought. Peace.